News and information leader. My name is Rowena Bird. We are together until midday. It's time now for Property Matters with Dineo Mulomo. And today we have a guest on the slot. It is Ms. Vuyiswa Mutshekwane. She's Chief Executive Officer of the South African Institute of Black Property Practitioners. And the focus today is on their 20th anniversary. Dineo, firstly, hello to you and welcome.
Hi, Lorena, and I promise you it's not my fault this time that I'm not there.
I know, Dineo. And welcome to you too, Ms. Mutshekwane. It's a great pleasure to have you on the line.
Good morning. Hi. Thanks for having me on the show.
20 years later, congratulations. My goodness. What have those 20 years been characterized by?
Sure, and it is quite an achievement.
Yeah.
Our organization was formed in 1996 by just a group of young, spirited and passionate property professionals. And to see it now, 20 years later, having grown into the major organization that it is, and to have seen the impact that it's made in the last 20 years is really, really commendable.
And what impact has it made in the last 20 years?
Yeah, so in the past 20 years, SAIBPP has been at the forefront of driving the transformation of the property sector, and with a particular focus on the commercial property sector. So, with regards to that, a lot of work has had to be done from a national policy perspective in ensuring that national policy is in line with the needs of the industry and with the requirement for transformation in the sector. And with regards to that, SAIBPP was critical in the drafting and the formation of the property charter, which now, is the regulating body, and the Office of the Property Sector Charter is the regulating body for transformation in the industry. So, without something like that, we can't even monitor whether we are making headway in this regard or not. So that was a very, very key achievement.
So what about national policy had to change or had to be introduced in the new property charter?
Look, the key thing about the charter is to interpret the overarching BEE laws and regulations. Obviously, when the national policy of BEE was implemented, it was a blanket policy. But every single industry has particular nuances and particular aspects of it that are unique to it. So the property sector, quite similarly, has particular targets that are perhaps more achievable within our context. And it was the requirement of the Property Sector Charter to then look at the BEE legislation and interpret it in a manner that is specific and applicable to the property sector.
And what are those specific targets that are geared towards the property sector?
We, as the sector, we still subscribe to the main measures, and with regards to ownership, management control, employment equity, skills development, economic development, socio-economic development, and so on and so forth. So I think there are 8 primary measures, but within what the role of the charter is to then look at those kind of key measures that are set forward by the BEE legislation, and then say, okay, within the property sector specifically, what targets are realistic from an ownership perspective? There are very specific characteristics of this industry. For example, capital intensiveness. So it's not very easy to just wake up and be a property owner. It's not very easy for ownership to transfer ownership within the sector. So perhaps then we needed to look at that as a measurement and say, okay, let us be more accommodating in this area and spread our objectives over a longer period of time.
Would you therefore then say that SAIBPP has been impactful, given what you're telling us now, the fact that it's kind of challenging to reach those specific targets?
Look, absolutely, and we continue to even push the boundaries on the targets that have been set and agreed upon. As it stands right now, and according to the latest research that's been released by the Property Sector Charter, even on the minimum requirements that have been set forward and agreed to by the sector, we still see a huge chunk of the private sector underperforming on those key measures. They are not meeting targets in terms of ownership, in terms of management control, employment equity, and these are key pillars in terms of economic redistribution. It's just not, the areas where we are seeing perhaps a little bit of progress, are in the kind of socioeconomic development, which one can understand because, that just says people are spending on CSI. But what are we doing to really breed the new crop of leaders within private sector? And what is being done to really, be at the forefront of that equitable redistribution of wealth within the sector? And that's what we are getting behind and pushing back on.
Janelle?
And with that said, actually, Rowena, it's so many times that the conferences that are held in property matters or any other industries tend to be looked at and considered to be just talk shops. I must be honest, I am quite proud to see SAIBPP making strides. We've had them in the last year, 2 years, where we got to discuss some of the topics that they touch on. They've got quite a great turnout in terms of speakers. And I think it resembles this 20-year milestone that Vuyiswa has just been alluding to. And I'd like for her to just remind us once more about that conference and the speakers that are going to be there and the kind of topics that are going to be covered so that we could hear a little bit more about what else can we look forward to.
Yeah. You've framed it so well because really that was a huge part of our thinking behind how the conference program was crafted. We have been in this game for 20 years. Our democracy is 22 years old. We can all agree that transformation is either slow or it's just not happening, in many areas. So our objective with how we crafted the program was to say, all right, looking forward, to take a forward-looking, more strategic approach and say what needs to be done. We can only cry